Guess we're ready to call to order.
Yeah.
Do the roll call.
Sefton Boyer is chairman,
I think I'll be here.
and Rain, vice chairman,
Here.
Mike Boland, secretary here. Alan Smith,
Here.
David Hickey,
Here.
Mark Neiman,
Here.
Adrian Byron, here. Todd Atterburn, CFO. And Jeff Matheson, GM. Deborah Rose.
He's like.
That's it.
Oh, no, I'm here.
You're here? Okay. Okay, the minutes looked okay to me. And so I guess the minutes will be accepted. And do we have anybody? No. Okay,
There are no member forum speakers.
any announcements? This is gonna go quickly. The update on the NetSuite, I guess, is the next one.
Yeah, okay. So, 26 is kind of a year of doing final solutioning on certain things that we did not have in the initial launch. So a couple of things are happening. We went live with the field service management module in October. That is replace the work order service desk. Everything that's in kind of your own world in terms of, we actually we used to call things work orders. We now have basically sales orders, which are internal work. And now all third-party vendors are purchase orders, right? So that process, obviously, they're going through, like every implementation, working through the bugs, working through reporting. The good news is all the information is now there. It's just how we report it out to transition from the mutuals to what they were looking at, some of the new reports you're looking at, certainly on the purchase order side. The great thing is we're using purchase orders, right? And so, but it's a big change for the staff in terms of what we consider a case now and closing out cases every month and every day sometimes. So that's one of the big pieces that was remaining. So that's in the works. And then for this year on the rest of NetSuite, we are in the kind of final, hopefully 3 to 4 weeks of solutioning the property tax solution for the co-ops and how we process that. We are working on the solutioning of the dunning letter side for collections and receivables. So in terms of how the system will generate an email out, 30, 45, 60 day late fees, how do we put in the system standardized, well, once it get to standardized penalties and fees for those assessments that are late. But just having the system be able to generate that, right? So that's in the works. We're doing the final solutioning on the amortization side of MTF loans that need to be in the system. So there's all those are the top of the list. And then moving towards Q3, we're going to be what's the review and approve role, which is also the role for mutual treasurers to be able to look at their information within NetSuite. Kim Starr third has been beta testing it. We have had some issues with the security and how do we keep them in the right lane with the mutual but get all the reporting to them. So we are third quarter looking at solution also, how do we do cash disbursements, which would be using, obviously the same signature cards, but putting them on, is an automated thing. So for example, a reserve over $10,000, the actual president treasurer would receive an email from the system to view and approve. It would have all the attachment and backup in there. If it's under $10,000, the treasurer can approve it. If it's over or it's coming out of the reserve fund, the system will then trigger another layer and it'll go email to the president to view and approve. So, so the end part of this year, as we start getting some of these other solutions done, the idea is eventually get to the point where we have, we don't have everyone having to come up and sign physical checks anymore. It's a better system. It's a closed system. So, so that's also in the process. So just a lot of fine tuning, including, how do we finalize access for the mutual and keep them in their lane? And then, continual work, on obviously member records and the escrow process as well. So, as Captain mentioned, we've been working with the Haas Social Selection Systems Group, and they're consulting in terms of looking at both our escrow process and our collections process, and we're going to be seeing their final report next month. So they've been adding a lot of value going through all the governing docs, looking at all our processes from a third party, as we move into 27, eventually get to our internal control audit. For this committee, obviously documenting all our processes finally and getting them on paper is a huge lift, but it's also the needed next step. So there's a lot still going on there in that suite, right? It's it'll be.
Does it still look positive?
Oh, it's great. It's just never get there quick enough.
Oh, good.
We have, even when we get into the budget season this year, Jason and, just how we look at reserve data, bringing that in, how we eventually start generating business plans, looking at cash flows with investments. There's just so much great stuff that we have now that we didn't have because of the single source of information. But we're still gonna be fine tuning it for,
Some years.
The Linux accounting system.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know, I don't want to do this. I'm done with my class and meditation.
Somebody else can handle that.
When you start work on next week too.
Yeah. This one has been pretty much all consuming since I started, so again, I'm done with my implementations after this one. But it's all really positive, it's just not quick enough, so. Yeah,
That's actually better. I know, because when I was auditing, I'd see a lot of places that were moving into those kind of systems. And usually the first year, everybody hated it.
mhm,
Then they got to like it after that.
yeah. Well, I think we've especially with some of the. We can talk a little bit of the staffing too, but with like Melinda being hired as the controller for the mutuals. I mean, she came in with NetSuite experience, not legacy Jenner experience, right? So Erica, who is filling in for Joe on maternity, which hopefully will stay on, is supporting the independence mutuals. She comes in with NetSuite experience, not Jenner, right? So, and that the people that are here that had to do double duty, are embracing it, right? Maybe we have still a lot of opportunity in terms of creating dashboards for the roles. We're looking at some AI use here on how we script the financial reports and create the reports using AI tools. AI is also very good in terms of some of the auditing and member records and some other stuff. So, including even some of the processes potentially with like bank recs and stuff. So, it's, we're in kind of a pretty amazing spot, but as you guys know out there, these new tools are every day. There's another big step forward in the AI world and how we appropriately use it here, but how it also can make us more efficient. And, if you look at just the reporting, produce the mutual reports, you're producing 850 PDFs and then putting them together, and you're manually changing the dates and the headers, and so to be able to create a script with AI where it just goes, these are all embedded AIs within NetSuite that will allow you just to go and say, okay, I need to run February's report for mutual 7, and it will go put together the list of the 5,500 compliant reports that are made of that, generate it, populate, change the dates, so that hours and hours of staff time say that they can now put into not actually changing their job, but it'll actually allow them now to review the reports and review the data versus to produce them, right? Which is the one thing we've really been missing. So yeah, a lot of really good things.
Right.
How are we doing in terms of being able to meet the deadlines for the?
I think it's, let's see what's on where that is. I'm happy to talk about it. So we actually have one draft already back. So, we have, there was a, Adrian asked about the audit status, where we're on the audits. So we have given the auditors every single thing that on our side. They are in the middle of testing and working through them. There's a couple hiccups. First, didn't want to sign the letter of rep. And so that was delayed, because they can't start the new one until they got finished. So that's really kind of on them. 70 also delayed signing the engagement letter. So there's a couple that are just falling off a little bit on the April 30th timeframe. We did already get one draft back. So we are making progress. One thing we have is the fire in 70 last year. We had a question to share with the auditors because that happened, towards the end of last year. And that shared deductible, right? We're still trying to figure out the full amounts. But whether or not we, what the auditor's opinion on where we put that, because all the data we gave did not include the shared deductible for the core Q4 fire. And so hopefully it's just gonna be able to be a 26, or an adjustment for 25, but without having to go reproduce things. So we're waiting on that, but we are so far ahead of where we've been, and Melinda is, really her, I mean, I can't even tell this group how great she is. She is just taking the hill, but her primary focus is managing the audits, right? And managing the 3 senior accounts to get the audits done this year in a reasonable time.
She's the new hire for the.
She's the new hire. So we, with the kind of the rework we did at RPM, I mean, we all know Amanda's, there was no more we could get out of her, and she was working countless hours and everything was on her, right? And it's a lot of risk in terms of like for this committee, that something happened to her, something would be. And so the bandwidth just wasn't there. We really needed on the customer service side, we needed some senior leadership on it as another controller for the mutuals, right? So Melinda is the controller just for the mutuals. So she has the 3 senior staff. Amanda still retains RWC and RPM and all of the cash and payroll, and so fully staffed, and obviously Melinda reports to Amanda. But it's just it was a critical piece we never had, and we were just always coming in, sliding under the radar, right at the very end to get the financials out, and then we didn't really have built-in process to review the financials. Just taking them out the printer historically and trying to look at them and test them. So she didn't get the treasurer's meeting today, and we get to meet her. She's already been wild, but so that's really positive. I mean, it's just even just I don't know, just if you walk through up there now, it's better. It's just like some of the pressure's off up there with starting to contribute, so that's great. In terms of RWC and our GR funded, also we'll put all tax extensions in the file for everyone, so obviously tomorrow. There's also
Remember that day?
So there's also the whole tax thing. Honestly, we file extensions for everyone, so everyone's filed on time. RWC, Audit, RPM, like CARE, CBIZ. They actually are starting most of their testing next week, but that's normal for them right now. So we should be in pretty good shape, and depending on what comes out of their testing, we're really close to April 30th deadline as well for CARE. And so really ahead of the game. I promised everyone will be done on the 30, no, but I do have some drafts already coming in, which is very exciting compared to where we've been, as you guys all know. So, and once I get a little closer here, we'll get an actual status, and I can probably ping everyone's community next, week and a half from now. So just let me know where we're at.
There's one on mutual too, that they hadn't signed the management letter last time, so I was wondering if that. Was that resolved? It was one. Okay.
So it's resolved, but it's certainly not on us in terms of delaying and getting the audit done now, right? Because, the Cheryl and they won't engage on the new work until the old work signed off and finished, right? So, that's just, everything just keeps pushing, right? So that's not on us, but it's still, you know,
So
we
this,
have everything now. There's nothing we're missing from, the one other. For you guys to know is we are looking 68, quarter and then do not wanna. Rep 68 any longer, which is. Something just kind of came up and I think they're regarding the land stabilization fund, so I'm digging in that, but we have a new bid in for Van Sloten. For $200, so 68 could slide a little bit. And I'll get more information, I'm just dealing with this now, so. We'll get more information on that. I would like to probably change auditors for 26. You know, we kept quartering them along for, you know, obviously through the whole transitionary period. Doesn't make any sense to really change for now because they just finished the 24s, even though they're so late, so it makes sense for us just to keep them. However, they're really frustrating to work with and, you know, kind of goes in the black hole. And I think it's probably healthy to look at changing potentially the auditors for the mutuals. Same for RWC, we've talked about it as well. So I'll give you guys apprised of that situation.
you're gonna go out for a bid though, right?
Not for 68 this year.
Well, but if you're gonna switch, you're gonna go out for bid.
Yeah.
For bubbles.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. A lot. We're busy. We're closing.
Any,
Never stops, it never stops up there.
I'm sorry. Any unfinished business?
Just this. It's unfinished business. Ongoing business.
Boy, one thing I was gonna just verify, is the review for the internal controls still scheduled for next year?
Mhm.
Good.
I mean, we still need to go follow through with the, actually going into bid here later this year and doing all that due diligence. But next, you know, May, June is the right time to do it. I think we should stick to it and take it any further because it's just continues to hinder their credibility. And I think it's time now for that to happen with NetSuite. We'll be at a place where, you know, we need to have it done. The board's been looking for it, so.
Yeah, and actually that'll be a good time since NetSuite will be in fall. That's.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a lot
Excellent
of
time.
tweaking to do this year.
Yeah.
Processes we need to finish solutioning, so. So mid 27, you know, Q3, Q2 27 is the right time frame.
Okay, I guess new business.
Yeah, so new business, which is old business, so last June. We brought to the board a resolution of the banking transaction in terms of specifying like. Empowerment agreement, so this is something that is driven. From Mechanics Bank, which is obviously the bank we use for Jarrett and RWC. At that time, we took it to the board, we had gotten. The document that was attached here, you guys see here, it's been reviewed by. Our legal counsel, it's been reviewed by Mechanics Bank, it's been reviewed by McCarrett CBIZ, right? However. I believe it was Dwight, wanted this community to actually review it as well. And so when we went back to find, we never actually,
Who did we
the
do?
audit committee.
Oh,
This
okay.
group. And so we never did. And then so it's been out there and from last year and the bank has been asking about it, so. But this is basically a resolution that empowers really Jeff and I to be the ones that can control the financial situation with mechanics, and I think hopefully you'll have a chance to read it. So really it's for this group to kind of make a recommendation to the board as the last piece for Leanne to sign it. And it's been something that was, like I said, was supposed to be done last year in June, and it just never made it to this committee and it fell through the cracks. Nobody else to sit on it, but kind of came back up with mechanics, and I was like, yeah, what? That was, honestly, I thought we took that board and it was done and here.
First we've ever heard of it.
Yeah, right, so. Yeah. So,
what kind of stuff are we talking about when you say you act for the?
So the bank, you know, when we look at, so from a legal standpoint, if you look at page. A special resolution that allows Jeff and I to open accounts and do banking on behalf of RWC and RPM, right? From a mechanics perspective. And so the board it's basically a board resolution allowing us the power to be the only two people that can kind of control those functionalities. Versus, you know, a volunteer board that comes and goes and, right? So the resolution is obviously a legalese, but it's the bank resolution and that they're authorized from the board to, and then of course the board now changing, right? So
It authorizes us to carry out the direction of the board without having constant change.
This is for RWC and RPM,
correct.
both of them.
Mhm. Which is really the single entity, right? I mean, it's the trust, it's the umbrella of RWC, it's Golden Ring Foundation of Golden Creek.
Okay, so that includes both of those, but none of the mutuals or anything like that.
The mutuals are
Yeah, so
different.
just RWC and RPM.
Mhm.
I went through the thing, I mean, a little tedious to say the least, but it looks like pretty straightforward to me. I didn't see any big problems with that lawyer, but from that standpoint, it's fine. I think the only concern I would have is to be sure that when we do the internal control audit, we make sure we cover that that's
Mhm.
all being
Yeah.
controlled properly. I'm not questioning that it won't be, but I
Mhm.
just think it should be included as a look-see.
Yeah,
And other than that, to me, look fine.
no, I'm kindred spirits for these two here in terms of cash controls are the single biggest things that we should look at.
Yeah.
Right, and so,
Does this change anything, like historically, there's always been the CFO and the.
yeah, but it's updated, because actually, so, I believe you were. The last time it was done, I was not on it, so they're still protecting business under Jeff. But I was not on it, and so it was one of those things that just the bank hadn't had updated in a while. Right, and so they needed to get an updated copy for their records and who they can deal with, so, which is why it was supposed to be done last year. So, I mean, like 2 year anniversary this month.
We had when I was the treasurer of the, Walnut Creek Soccer Club,
Mhm,
we were with mechanics,
mhm,
and it was the same issue. Every year,
mhm.
brand new board, brand new signature cards.
Yeah.
Couple of idiots that didn't know what they were doing, or signing
Yeah.
it, right?
You can just say that City National Bank on the national sign.
Okay, so what we ended up doing was we ended up doing similar to this, where we allowed the executive director of Little League, the treasurer of Little League, which happened to be a board position, but it wasn't a year over year, it was like a 3 or 5 year. And then there was oversight by the board. So I think like any disbursement over X thousand dollars had to be reviewed or approved by somebody or somebody's on the board. And it really made it efficient. It really, because that
And
way,
that's still within our policies as well.
Okay.
And spending for even costs.
okay,
But that's not enforced by the bank.
No,
This
that's.
yeah, that's an.
And that's really what I meant by internal control, that someone.
Yeah.
Somebody is reviewing.
Yeah, and a lot of it, even like, you look down at like, you know, like in the C area, you know, it's like, so I moved Nina over to. You know, some cash reconciliation intercompany stuff, right? To get her view access on the accounts and mechanics takes an authorization person, right?
Right,
So who authorizes her to view those? Well, I mean, I do, right? But we're not gonna go all the way back to the board every time we're gonna have someone, so that the bank needs. Who can, you know, do those kind of things, so, you know.
Yeah. Some portion, like, do you, like with check signing, is there more than one signature required over a certain amount?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting, the bank. Depending on the bank, you know, they used to always actually have 2 physical signatures, and they'll sometimes catching up. We certainly have very, very clear controls on signature limits here. We don't have a 2 check thing for Golden Rain, all the mutuals do. So if there is any amount out of the reserve fund, a matter of fact, you know, I'm appointed assistant treasurer. But I'm gonna actually move to be changing that in 27 is become an authorized signer for operating accounts and board approved budget amounts for like utilities and things like that. So my checks, signatures on all mutual checks. And then we still require 2 board checks over $10,000 and 2 board member checks on reserve fund distributions. Because they have different legalities, right? Depending on the size of the mutual too, it's 5 and 10. So moving forward, that's one of the reasons we want to solution that NetSuite is so we can actually maintain the 2 signature. Versus coming up and doing physical signings, but on the mutual side, we require 2 signatures.
You might say, we had a deal with my little nonprofit. And while we had a 2 signature requirement, the bank had nodded about it, but the bank wasn't interested in checking it.
Well, that was the thing, I didn't know how that was, I don't think it was.
Right. Yeah.
But I was wondering, because I mean, it looks like you could give the authority to somebody to transfer funds. So, and I guess they can transfer as much funds as, I mean, I don't know how there was a limit on that, because there was a 2 signature requirement. It seemed like, according to this,
Yeah.
you give the authority to whoever you want to transfer funds.
Yeah, but I can't, there's still authorizations. I saw it approved wires, just supposed to approve. So there's still level controls, but I think as we move into, you know, the actual internal control on it, I mean, I think that's, you know, restating those limits. So the fraud, you know, if there's actual fraud and people moving money that they shouldn't be moving. You know,
Those are internal controls, but not bank controls, essentially. Then, unless you were set something with the bank where they had.
Yeah, you know,
you if there was a.
that's the thing that the reality is, you look at like how large our insurance payments are, right? I mean, those are like, most of it isn't very, we don't have that many just huge payments. I mean, unless we're doing some type of this, you know, some payments, but even, you know, the pickleball spread out over on the capital side. The insurance payments are the largest ones that need to go out, and they go out on a certain time frame. And on the mutual side, the property tax, you know, goes out on the 10th of, you know, April. So, but those are all obviously approved and pushed through and visible to the mutual side.
Well, at least we know that one of the items on the internal control review was defects.
Well, and it's us. So, you know, we're kind of on the chopping block if, honestly, if there.
Okay, I guess,
It needs to deal with somebody.
do we have a motion to recommend this to the board?
I'll make a motion that we recommend to the RWC board that we adopt a resolution authorizing the general manager and the CFO to sign and act on behalf of the organization to complete banking transactions.
I second that.
Okay. We'll vote. All those in favor?
Unanimous.
Because it's a by acclamation. Okay, now I know the next item was listed as the 2025 audit update.
Just gave us
Yeah.
Yeah,
We're in the middle of it and we're moving it forward, so it's good.
Yeah.
We're, I mean, obviously so far ahead compared to, I mean.
that is real nice. Okay,
No,
so
it's 9, our meeting started at 11, not 10, right? This says 9, it says 10, our meeting started at 11.
Yeah, we started
Yeah.
here.
That's what even though I probably won't be here for the main meeting, but I'll confirm that we do start at 11.
Yep.
So I could make 10.
If I could have just a minute before we adjourn. Sure. I unfortunately feel I have to leave the committee at the end of June. I know my term goes, I think, through the end of 27, but I've been on since 2018, at least, if not before, I don't remember. I truly don't, but, I hit 91 in, March. And I'm beginning to feel my age, folks. I got some health issues I have to deal with. And I wanted to give you enough notice to replace me And, so that's just, I thank you for the opportunity and, I enjoyed working with everybody. And I'll see you for the next couple of meetings, but, I just, I really feel I have to do it, and I talked to China, she said this was the way I should do it, so. I mean, I didn't know whether I was supposed to write something or whatever, but, anyway, so that's, just all I had to say.
2018.
That's, we're sorry to lose you.
You've seen a lot. So we will have a transition in May, June. So, would you want to stay till then?
Yeah, that's fine, but I mean, I figured, that's why I said it now, so that I'll still participate until, end of June, and, hopefully someone can step in.
Yes, we have, a note. Thank you for the enough heads up. We were able to add it in the May announcement for open candidacies on this committee, because along with yourself, Mr. Hickey as well, his term is coming to a close.
No.
Yeah, which he can definitely reapply. Okay.
Better get your PAC spending money for your election already.
That's right. I mean, Alan's position place. It's not replaceable.
Okay, I guess we're ready to adjourn. Anything before we
When's the next meeting?
May 11th at 11 o'clock, right here again.